If there would be peace in the world, there must be peace in the nations. If there would be peace in the nations, there would be peace in the cities. If there would be peace in the cities, there must be peace among neighbors. If there would be peace between neighbors, there must be peace in the home. If there would be peace in the home, there must be peace in the heart. On this final Sunday of our annual series, exploring our part in bending the arc of the universe a little more toward justice, we gather up this teaching. Take it to heart. A month ago, when we began with our yearning for peace in the world and with Lao Tzu's teaching, we traced it all the way to the heart. World, nations, cities, neighborhoods, home, heart. And while it is important to weave and hold all of those pieces together, when we boil it down to its essence, we can start with, if there would be peace in the world, and end with, there would be peace in the heart. Not that we can skip those other layers. Not that there's a shortcut. But if we don't know where we start, in the heart, then we have no hope of attaining the others. And even if we want a temporary feeling of peace in any of those other layers, without our heart there, without it beginning with our own selves, it cannot hold. And that is the history of our world. Heart is where we start for everything. The first sound we hear on our way to this earthly life is the thrum of our birth mother's heart. Long before we have any earthly consciousness, we have this rhythm, this steady and steadying rhythm. And in fact, when those in the world look for us, for our being on the way, what they listen for is our embryonic heart, beating in complement to our birth mothers. There is a love holding me. There is a love holding all that I love. There is a love holding all I rest in. This love. It's logical and natural then that any sweetness, any comfort, any hope, any peace that we would find on this earth must perforce begin in the same place, our hearts. It's what we long for, what we yearn for, and if we are lucky, what we are ready to give ourselves for. It is from our tenderest hearts that we send forth into the world our own hopes and our dreams, in faith that the peace we make may circle back to us in the love we have given to brim over this heart, so hungry for connection, so hungry for love, for justice, for peace, that we still believe is possible against all the odds and in spite of all history and beyond all reason. Oh, the things we do for love. Things we do for love. The things you do for love. 20 years ago, on Sunday, the 21st of February, some 70 people signed the very first pages of River of Grass's membership book. Next week, some of you will sign it anew. And in all those pages in between is the life of this congregation. Many of those people who signed that book on that day are in this room this morning. And like our forebears, our Unitarian Universalist founders and forebears that came before, they had a dream of a liberal religious community, a sanctuary for liberal and progressive thought in western Broward County. They envisioned a home for the kind of hope-stoking, peace-making, faith-growing, justice-working, love-giving religious community that they believed was possible in this world, but they didn't wait. They set out to build it. For years, like religious nomads, founders of this congregation moved into and back out of rented and borrowed space, sometimes every Sunday. They hauled supplies and teaching materials and sound systems from their cars and their garages and their storage spaces, and they set it all up in the likes of school cafetoriums. They worshiped sitting in little toddler chairs. They sang and coffeed together, and then they packed it all up again, and then they put it all away again, and then they did it again the next Sunday, and 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 the next Sunday, for years. So you know, the next time that we're tempted to go, I don't want to move all these chairs, remember the time when the founders of this congregation would have been overjoyed to have to move only chairs. Things we do for love. Things we do for love. Did you know that River of Grasses met in a park, in a preschool, an old fire station, and other inventive places, all holding the dreams of this congregation on the horizon while doing the very real work of making it happen in the here and now. Soon more joined in this quest, more hands for this heart work, and soon more, and you, 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 and you filled the pages of this book to keep building this dream. And yes, sometimes that heart's work meant facing heartbreak in the ways that humans will. For no path of conviction is smooth, and no dream is reachable without trial, and no faith is deepened without proving, and no love strengthened without testing again and again and again. And here we are. The things we do for love. Things we do for love. It's not just here for this beloved community. It's the things that we do outside these doors in our own lives. For it is not our mission just to transform ourselves, but to transform this world in our place and in our time. The things we do for love can not only be for this place, but in everything we do. The things we do for the love of our family, the things we do for the love of our neighbors, for the love of our work, for the love of the people we work with, the people we work for, things we do for the love of our city, things we do for the love of our country, even when it might seem none of these is loving us back the way we wish they would. And yet we keep on, we keep trying, and we keep learning how to love the hell out of this world. Our blue boat home, the only one we have. Now, our 7 Unitarian principles actually bear this out quite well in their own way. Most of our printed materials have them in an order. The inherent worth and dignity of every person goes as number 1. Number 2, justice, equity, and compassion in human relationship. 3, acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations. 4, a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. 5, the right of conscience and the use of the democratic process within our congregations and in society at large. 6, the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. And 7, respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. This is not a creed and it is not a doctrine. It is a set of values that we have found to be universal and to which we are willing to give our work. Then one day, a few years ago, a whole bunch of us ministers were online and chatting about how this order has never felt quite right to us. It just seems too hierarchical, and it seems too weighted toward individualism which has been important in our development, and then there comes a time to turn to community. It never felt quite like this is the way we upheld our deepest beliefs and our moral concerns. No one of them actually comes before or after any of the others. They all actually feed in and out of each other. And so we were brainstorming and brain sharing and talking about all this all online in one particular session. And while we were going through it, one of our colleagues posted in the chat list a sketch of what he thought it might look like if we made a graphic of what we were talking about. And then one of our ministers, who's a graphic artist, rendered it before the day was over into this. In the center is the inherent worth and dignity of the person. Every person. You. All of us. That is the heart. That is where we start. And then bounding around the outside of all of it is the interdependent web of all being, of which we are a part, but just a part. So the heart is there in the middle. Peace in the heart in this teaching. And then bounded around the outside is the interdependent web of all being. And then circulating around the inside are the other five, as they feed in and out and through both and support both. The heart must be there. So must be the embrace of this interdependent web of all being. And just like we started today talking about how we could go from if there would be peace in the world, there must be peace in the heart. So must our principles be lived. If this interdependent web of all being should be sustained, we start with our hearts and our responsibilities, and we work our way through the other principles to make it so. The things we do for love. And now here we are, 20 years into the love-born dream called River of Grass. At the threshold, we have arrived at more change and more growth in body and in spirit, envisioning our next home, given how the mission and vision of this congregation has outgrown this space. As we jockey, we talked about sharing things when there's not necessarily enough to go around, or everybody wants it all. We jockey for space, so we'll have a class going here, and we'll have a class going here, and we'll have a class going there, and then we'll have people in the hall, and that's the way we make it work. It's a wonderful problem. The things we do for love. Hey, listen, we could be in one of those old churches up in Boston where the pews are screwed to the floor. Then what would we do? We couldn't even move them around. If there would be peace in the world, there must be peace in the nations. If there would be peace in the nations, there must be peace in the cities. If there would be peace in the cities, there must be peace between neighbors. If there would be peace between neighbors, there must be peace in the home. If there would be peace in the home, there must be peace in the heart. And so we close this month of February and this year's contemplations on how we keep bending the arc of the universe toward justice by returning once more to the place everything starts, in our hearts. Your heart, my heart, our heart, the heart of this congregation. And each and every one of you has formed that heart by the things you do for love. And what is our nature but to ask, what more might we do? For our families, for our dear ones, for the things we believe in, for this remarkable faith, for the mystery that calls us. Because here's the funny thing. The love we get can never be more than the love we give. By whatever measure that be. The smile at the door, the meal, a pint of blood, playing music, leading worship, teaching our youngins, doing dishes, moving chairs. signing on for our new strategic plan, serving on the board, teaching our youngins or being the parents of our youngins, or discovering the youngins that are still within us all, finding ways to be together, work together, march together, sing together, pray together, laugh together, cry together, helping each other up when we fall, lifting each other up in trial and in triumph. Learning again and again and again that what grows, what builds the world we dream of, starts with the love in our hearts. Without that, no pretty words, no generosity, no building, no profession of faith can matter. 20 years ago, the dream of this River of Grass Unitarian Universalist congregation came alive. Then one by one, and two by two, and handful by handful, and each by each, and all by all, every one of you in this room grew it into this moment, including you visitors who may be here for the very first time today, because your presence in this place has already changed us, has already blessed us, has already called us to be more than we were before you came in our door. And for that, we thank you. However long the journey, however steep the climb, however history will report on our mission, in this time and in this place, in the year 2019, may those who come after us say that we bent the arc, the universe, a bit more toward justice,